Welcome to the Manchester Culture Bunker. I suppose in many ways this whole YouTube channel should be dedicated to the late great Tony Wilson, and of course it's like 15 years now since he died. August the 10th 2007, he left this planet aged 57. Now it's so weird for me to think of that because now I'm 62. I'm older, 5 years older than Tony was when he left this earth, and that just seems incredible to me, because he always seemed so much older than me and so much more grown up and so much more plugged into the world. Now, I first met Tony Wilson when I was only 17, and it was at a parish dance at St Alphonsus Church in Old Trafford. And Tony and his ex-wife, Lindsay Reed, well, not his ex-wife at the time, I think still his girlfriend, they turned up to do the raffle for Father McMahon. I don't know how he managed to arrange that. Father McMahon has only just retired in the last year from St John's in Cholton. But it was just peculiar. And I remember, chatting to him about music. And obviously I'd been to school with John Marr out of Buzzcocks, who'd gone to St Alphonsus school with me at primary level. And, chatting to Tony. And then when I got my first radio job, working for BBC Radio Derby, the glamour, back in end of 81, 82. And I had my own radio show. I used to play demo tapes of local bands, and then I'd send them to Tony to see if he'd want to sign a band from Derby, in particular a reggae band that I ended up managing. And I remember Tony speaking to me at length on the phone saying, listen, I love the band, darling, but we did sign a reggae band. It just didn't work for us. We couldn't sell any, and that, of course, is a band, Exodus. Was signed, famously to Factory Records, and there's a lost album somewhere by Exodus, and they did a track called English Black Boys, which came out. But I mean, just all those memories that I have of everything that I ever did all come back to Tony Wilson, and I suppose my generation, we saw the road built for Manchester. Manchester wasn't a cool place. And Tony came in, and we were almost like cultural serfs. And he basically said, get up off your knees. Where you live is cool. This is where we invented the computer. This is where we split the atom. Well, Rutherford did. This is where Rolls met Royce. All the great things that have come out of Manchester. Celebrate it. Celebrate your football teams, although he really meant Man United and Man United reserves. He just had so much character about him. People used to go, he's a bit of a weirdo, and he'd be quoting, Chou En-lai and, throwing S.J. Perelman and all these sort of weird quotes at you and think, who are these people? But you didn't want to admit you didn't know, because that would make you seem a bit thick. I mean, Tony, I had arguments with him. I had massive disagreements, especially when I felt he was hijacking a really varied scene in Manchester in 88 and 89 by calling it Manchester and creating this sort of banner for white kids wearing baggy flares. You know what I mean? And this nonsense about indie dance crossover. But even then, Tony wrote the headlines. The rest of us, and this is what, something that Paul Morley said. He said, it was like the rest of us were all in the back room doing all the work, and then Tony would come out and write the headline, and stuff like, kids in Manchester have the best record collections, and that's why so many great bands come from Manchester. And you're going, well, I know Tony didn't say that, because he told me the guy who actually said it to him, and it was a Southern A&R man. But then suddenly you see all these plaques in Manchester, Tony Wilson, kids in Manchester have the best record collections. And you go, okay, this is how myths happen. This is how legends happen. And that's what Tony is. And that's what Manchester needed. A legend, something to mythologise, something to make us great for the future. And I mean, I love Tony because he had this kind of Jedi mind trick, because he had so much ego. It was like he had no ego. And I'll never forget when I got the job on The Word on Channel 4. I'd never worked on TV before. I'd always had 100% control over my radio shows. I was allowed to play what I want, interview who I wanted. Suddenly, I'm on TV. And I'm arguing with people who don't really have the experience. We even had to explain to our boss, when I was doing The Word, who James Brown was. And he actually said, who's she? I've never heard of her. And you're going, oh, OMG, and this guy was only a year older than me. So when I got the job on The Word, I was a bit concerned, and the only person I knew who worked in TV was Tony Wilson. So I rang him up like that. I went, that's the phone, by the way. Oh, hi, Tony. hey, it's Terry Christian, listen, I've just got this job, you know, working on TV, my own show. But if you're the presenter of a show, how much say should you actually have in the content of the show? And Tony Wilson said, about 14%. No, 11.5%. And I went, oh, thanks, Tony. And then, what the hell does that even mean? You know, it was the Jedi mind trick. He was obviously just taking a mickey, really, you know, because it is meaningless. We used to go to football, and I'd be in the South Stand, and that's where Tony Wilson had his season ticket. And because he had this sort of Pollyanna positivity about everything, if United were losing or drawing and not playing very well at half time, I'd go down at the concourse to find him and get a few words of comfort off him. And he'd always say, yes, listen, darling, don't worry, we're losing 1-0, but I can see us coming back. If we get a goal, first 20 minutes, I think we're going to win this one 3-1. No, actually, call that 4-1. And then I'll never forget the time we were losing 1-0 against Chelsea at home, full time, 3-0 to Chelsea. And I said to Tony, do you know what? I've just realised how your business, Factory Records, went bust owing 5 million quid. He was always just such good fun. He's sorely missed. Everything that you see around you in Manchester, from the bars, from the apartment living. Mind you, I'm not sure about all those empty apartments that are overpriced. But, you know, just everything, the whole buzz of the place. He built it. He made us believe. And we then kind of went along with that. We just thought, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, Manchester's really cool. Really? Bit rough, isn't it? And there it was. He made all of that happen. And that's why today, August the 10th, on August the 10th, I want to see Tony Wilson trending. Get him trending on Twitter. Get him all over the internet. 15 years, he's never been forgotten. Don't allow him to be. I don't ever want to hear a kid going, who was Tony Wilson? And you'll be going, listen, son, you live in one of the best cities in the world. He's one of the people most responsible for making it exactly that.